Hello, and welcome to episode 23 of Things I've Learned from Barry Harris. I thought we would talk about comping for the standard All the Things You Are, which was played a lot by Bird and Dizzy and Bud Powell and, of course, by Barry. So the way I thought we would dissect it is maybe take a look at the first four or maybe even the first eight. We'll see how far we go. First 4 bars or first 8 bars. So let's just talk about it. The first measure is an F minor 7. And the second measure is B flat minor 7. The next measure is E flat 7. The next measure is A flat major. And maybe a quick A flat 7. Then a D flat major. Then we got D half diminished to G7, going to C major, I'm sorry, for two bars. So again, that's F minor 7, 2, 3, 4, B flat minor 7, 2, 3, 4, E flat 7, 2, 3, 4, A flat to A flat 7 to D flat, 2, D half diminished G7, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so there's the first 8. Now, if we take Barry's understanding of his scale of chords, we should try to look at it in the way that he looks at it, which is he doesn't think of things in terms of minor 7s. He thinks of them as the 6 chord. So for the first chord, F minor 7, he wouldn't call that F minor 7. He would say that's A flat 6 with 6 in the bass. So it's this chord, or A flat 6. So you have to know the A flat 6 diminished scale in chords. Then if you aren't familiar with that, I talk about his 4 important scale chords in a previous episode that you could look at, but just really fast. It's A flat, that's the scale. So it's basically an A flat major scale, but with an extra note, which is that flat 6. And when you do that, what it comes up with is now you just have a 6 chord and a diminished. And then just inversions of those two things. Another 6, another diminished, 6, diminished, 6, diminished, back to 6 again. Now for this lesson, for the point of this lesson, maybe we'll just look at drop 2s. And drop 2s, again, for guitar is just basically 4 consecutive strings. So we'll use either the 6th, 5th, 4th, and 3rd together, the 5th, 4th, 3rd, and 2nd together, or the 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st together. So now let's take a look at the first part where you have a full measure of F minor 7. So you can play, here's your scale of chords. That's a nice little movement. So we'll try it. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and went to B flat minor 7. But we can do that, or we can maybe, another idea might be to start on a diminished. So here's the diminished above it, here's the diminished below it. So let's start on diminished and let's listen to what that sounds like. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so let's try that again. Using a diminished. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so let's get into what the next little change is, because I keep calling it B flat minor 7. So again, the first part is A flat 6, diminished. The second part, B flat minor 7, Barry doesn't see it as a B flat minor 7. He sees it as D flat 6 diminished. So that scale would be, which is like a D flat major scale, except with a flat 6 added, which gives you either a D flat 6 inversion or a diminished. So it's either D flat 6 or E flat diminished the whole way. That's all it's going to be. So now we have to learn how to run A flat 6 into D flat 6, which we've kind of done before, but let's just take a look at all the different places where it connects. Let's take a look at the first F minor 7. The closest D flat 6 to this A flat 6 is this one. So let's see what that sounds like. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. F minor 7 into B flat minor 7. Let's try a different one. Let's say that time I used a diminished in between. I used a different diminished to get in between because, as you can see, A flat 6 to D flat 6 has these two notes in common, and the only thing that moves. So that's a nice little movement that you can even play in there. So let's try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. But anyway, that's the idea behind it. Let's take a look at A flat 6 into D flat 6 again. All the different places you could do it. So we did it here, we did it here. Here's another A flat 6. So there's the closest D flat 6. So let's see how we do that, how we work that one out. So we'll say okay, so now let's take a look at even a different thing, which is once we play the D flat 6 for the B flat minor 7, the next chord is E flat 7. Now we can play as a tritone substitute of the E flat 7. We can play the minor 6, which is a half step above the dominant chord. So in this case, instead of E flat 7, we can play E minor 6 diminished. So now we have to think of quick ways to get to D flat 6 into E minor 6. And obviously when you do E minor 6, it's basically making the E flat 7 a flat 9 with a raised 5. So it works nicely. Anyway, so let's try that. Now let's try F or minor 7 or A flat 6. The closest D flat 6 to the closest E minor 6, and then back to A flat 6. Or even, because we know for A flat 6 you can play two 6s. You can either play E flat 6 or A flat 6. So that's a nice one to do. So here's E flat minor 6, and then here's E minor 6, and then here's E flat 6. So again, let's try D flat 6 to E minor 6, going to A flat 6, or E flat 6 for the A flat major. So if we put those together, we'll say A flat 6 to D flat 6 to E minor 6 to E flat 6 to A flat 6, which is really pretty, and it's not a lot of movement. So you should try to see those in every possible inversion. So here's the first one again. Here's A flat 6, here's D flat 6, here's E minor 6, and here's E flat 6, and there's A flat 6. So the next one, here's A flat 6, D flat 6, E minor 6, and then here's those are the two 6s, the E flat 6 and the A flat 6 that go with that. Now, those are all the little inversions. Or here, let's see this last one. Here's A flat 6. And here's D flat flat 6. Here's E minor 6. And then here is that E flat 6. And then there's the A flat 6 again. So you see all these little things that you should be able to do from one chord to the next that you have to be able to see just in the first part. And I didn't even mess with when it goes to A flat. It sometimes does a quick A flat 7, in which case you can also use like an A minor 6 to get to D flat 6 again when it goes to the 4 chord there. So let's just practice a few little things on them. Like I said, sometimes you could start right on the diminished, so let's do that. 1, 2, 3. Goes to C minor. But anyway, so now I'm just looking at purely those scales and how all little different ways to practice those pretty things. Another thing you can do, for instance, is we had a lesson on borrowing notes. So the concept behind borrowing notes is, here's your A flat 6. Here's your diminished above. I'm sorry, below. Here's your diminished above. At any time, you can borrow a note. So for instance, if I want to borrow this note, for this, I can. And I'm just borrowing a note that was part of the diminished before it. So I might even want to do something like that. Or maybe I can start the song out with, let's see, I'll borrow a few different notes. I'll borrow them a few times. Let's try it. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, So that's another thing you can think of while you're comping. And again, these are just things to practice. You can put your metronome on and say, let me see if I know all of my A flat 6 running into D flat 6. Let me see if I know all of my D flat 6 running into E minor 6. And there are other variations too, like we could have done D flat 6 into just a regular E flat 7 diminished, or an E flat 7 flat 5, which is another one of his scalar chords that you can practice too, that you have to learn how to be able to do things with. So like I said, it's endless. And if you think about it this way, we've only scratched the surface in just looking at all the possibilities with just drop 2. We haven't even done drop 3 or drop 2, drop 4. So again, drop 3 would be play a note, skip a string, play 3 notes. Drop 2, drop 4 would be play 2 strings, skip a string, and play 2 more strings. It's endless. It's just endless. So again, in the comments section, if you want to, let me know what you've been working on, because the one thing that I want to try to make this channel is feel more like a community where we're just going to use my channel to share ideas about these different systems. And I mean, some people have already talked about it, which I love, but I want to turn it into that, like it's us all practicing together. Because really, when you go to Barry's class, that's always the way I feel about it. When Barry starts to show us something, and then you feel like you're a part of something, and everybody's working on similar things, but everybody has their individual ideas, and he's so free and easy about it, and he's so willing to listen to everybody's ideas about it, that it makes it really feel like we're a community and we're all looking at the same purpose, which is to try to become better musicians. Because that's really all it is. And the one thing I feel about Barry is the reason that he is such a master is because he's constantly searching for new ways. Still, to this day, he's still searching for new ways. So anyway, it's something to keep in mind. I appreciate you supporting me in this channel, and enjoy practicing your chords for all the things you are. I think the next video we'll start looking at maybe soloing for it. But anyway, until then, see you in episode 24. Take care.